Hi, bee farmers. It's Friday, April 3rd. We made it through another week. Um, I am in my office today because Tony is working like crazy to clean up the classrooms and make sure everything is germ free. So I am making sure I don't go in and disrupt him. And Mike is still working on the beautiful new greenhouse, which I can't wait for everybody to see. Um, I hope you all are ready for a good weekend. I'm really hoping the sun comes out. Um, and if it doesn't, that's kind of what this story is about today. Some of you might be familiar with it, and it's a great book to remind ourselves that there's all sorts of things we can use around the house to build. If we think with the right type of thoughts, we can really all be engineers in a way, and build things out of everyday household items. So this is called Rosie Revere Engineer. It's a good one. It's a little bit longer than usual. And actually, it was Elle Murphy's from Piping Plover's sister that donated this great book to our school, Lily. So hi, Elle and Lily. Missing you. This is a story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Lila Greer's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer's stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. Alone in her attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie made gadgets and gizmos she loved. But when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed where they'd never be seen. When Rosie was young, she had not been so shy. She worked with her hair swooping over one eye and made fine inventions for uncles and aunts, a hot dog dispenser and helium pants. The uncle she loved most was zookeeper Fred. She made him a hat to keep snakes off his head. From parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knows keeps the pythons away. And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud. But Fred slapped his knee and he chuckled out loud. He laughed till he wheezed and his eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there embarrassed, perplexed, and dismayed. She looked at the cheese hat and then looked away. "I love it," Fred hooted. "Oh, truly, I do." But Rosie Revere knew that could not be true. She stuck the cheese hat on the back of her shelf and after that day kept her dreams to herself. And that's how it went until one autumn day, her oldest relation showed up for a stay. Her great-great-aunt Rose was a true dynamo who'd worked building airplanes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of the things she had done and goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave a sad smile as she looked to the sky. "The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers as long as it seems. I'll chalk that one up to an old lady's dream." That night, as Rosie lay wide-eyed in bed, a daring idea crept into her head. Could she build a gizmo to help her aunt fly? She looked at the cheese hat and said, "No, not I." But questions are tricky, and some hold on tight. And this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie knew just how to make her aunt fly. She worked and she worked till the day was half gone, then hauled her cheese-a-copter out onto the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might turn out to be. Sorry. Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The Hello Cheese copter sputtered and twitched. It floated a moment and whirled around and around, then froze for a heartbeat and crashed to the ground. Then Rosie heard laughter and turned round to see the old one laughing and slapping her knee. She laughed till she wheezed and her eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who thought, "Oh no, never, never again will I try to build something to sputter or spin, or build with a lever or switch or a gear, and never will I be a great engineer." She turned round to leave, but then Great-Aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close and hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. "You did it! Hooray! It's the perfect first try. This great flop is over. It's time for the next." Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, perplexed. "I failed," said dear Rosie. "It just made of trash. Didn't you see it? The cheese copter crashed." "Yes," said her great aunt, "it crashed. That is true. But first it did just what you needed it to do. Before it crashed, Rosie, before that, it flew. Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy and go on to the next." She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt as if it had all become clear. Life might have its failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. They worked till the sun sneaked out to its bed, and Rosie tried her headscarf round Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile ear to ear, to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 build gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they all stand and cheer, but no one quite as proudly as Rosie Revere. The end. Oh, love, love, love that book. It's a great lesson to just keep trying and keep building, because that doesn't make for failure. It makes for a lot of success. So have a wonderful weekend. I will miss being on your screen. I'm sure you're a little sick of my face, but and I will see you on Monday. Keep being good to yourselves. Keep being good to brothers and sisters and mom and dad and pets. And I will see you back here next week for another week really filled with purpose and joy. I miss you all, and I will talk to you soon.